Welcome to Clocked Out, the Intoxication Station B-roll channel. Thank you for showing up. Part of what we're going to be doing on the B-roll channel is, stuff that doesn't involve restaurant reviews, interviews with small business owners. It's just going to be a channel where I typically do stuff that I would normally do that doesn't really coincide with the channel all that much. One of those things is car care. Now, for those that may know, I'm a full-time rideshare driver in Orlando, Florida. And one of the biggest things that you need to do as a rideshare driver is to maintain your vehicle. Now, whether that's through a mechanic, if you're proficient enough to do the maintenance yourself, or just you have the mechanical knowledge to be able to do all the work, what I would like to show on the channel is just basic maintenance overall, some of which is going to get a little bit more advanced as this particular series goes on. I thought I would go ahead and start off on an easy note by doing a couple things that shouldn't take no more than a few minutes, even for someone that may have some tools, may not have some tools, whatever the case may be. So one thing I'm going to be replacing is the wipers. After as much time as I spent on the road, the last thing that you want to look at is a dirty windshield. Replacing the wiper blades on a fairly regular interval is just going to overall improve your experience behind the wheel. Another thing that I'm going to be replacing too via Amazon is going to be the engine air filter and the in-cabin air filter. Both are critical. A healthy engine that can breathe well is a happy engine. And, well, for anyone that has got into any of the rideshare platforms and they hop into a vehicle and it smells just musty in there, chances are it's going to be the in-cabin air filter that's going to present you with that kind of smell. One thing I also have is a smaller yet beneficial air purifier that keep in my cup holder. I'm also going to be replacing the air filter in that as well too. The first thing I'm going to get started on, since I don't feel like opening up the car or getting dirty right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and replace the windshield wipers and show you guys how I go about doing it. Now, this is going to differ from vehicle to vehicle. It just so happens that on my vehicle, a 2024 Chevy Malibu is relatively easy to replace. So with that, let's go ahead and get those wipers changed out. So first step I would like to do, as far as replacing the wipers go, is lifting up the wipers all the way. That way you can gain access to the attachment point. Now, I like to always start off with the big one first, since it's going to get in the way of the smaller one. Just go ahead and lift them up, just as easy as that. Now, second thing that you want to do is compare the two to make sure that you got the right wiper blades, because nothing's worse than trying to add stuff to your vehicle and it's the incorrect part. With this, you're going to take the wiper, rotate it up. I'll try to get a better photo of the larger one, but there is a retainment clip in there that you have to push down and push down on the wiper assembly itself. That way it comes off all together in one piece. These are going to be a little different, since this is a multi-blade setup where you have several contact points across the entire blade itself that could give you streaks. I do like to go with a monolithic design. That way it creates even pressure all the way across the windshield itself. Make sure to take off the rubber guide and reverse order by sliding in the new blade and gently putting it down on the windshield. Not a hard thing to do. If you're in a rush, shouldn't take no more than a couple minutes at most. Once again, on the larger of the blades, you're going to rotate the entire assembly up, and right there is going to be a retainment clip. You want to pull that in, find the right one, and then push down on the wiper itself. Comes off nice and easy. Thread it out. Make sure that both blades are the same length. And then where the hook is right here, you want to fish it onto that section right there and just pop it in. Make sure to remove the protector and then gently place it down. In less than a few minutes, you're able to replace your wiper blades, giving you a much better driving experience overall, better visibility, and just an overall safer experience behind the wheel. Now, when it comes to disposing of the old wiper blades, just put them back in the same box that you got them in and just toss them in the trash. To my knowledge, there isn't a company that rebuilds these, and they're inexpensive enough to where you don't need to have them rebuilt. Now, one thing I like to do after every time I change off the wiper blades, I'll try to go through and clean off the windshield too. So by taking your favorite glass cleaner, any of the brands work typically well, soak the entire windshield to its ability while removing any kind of leaves, debris, any big stuff that you can pick off, and just let that soak on one side. Then on the other side, go through and soak this side down as well too. Effectively, with all the road grime that's on the road, oil, tire particulate, grease, unwarranted brake calipers on some occasions, I've had to duck those once or twice. Gonna let that soak for a little bit. Now, granted, at time of filming, it is a bit of a cooler day out in indirect sunlight, which is perfect for this kind of thing. We're gonna let the glass cleaner do its thing, and how I like to go about cleaning is down, over, up, down, over, up. By doing that, you're going to create a crosshatch pattern that's going to give you good coverage. And then, starting off at the bottom, going side to side and going up. Now, there will be some streaks on this initial pass, since we are effectively loading up the towel that we're using, and just repeat the process while cross-hatching up and down and side to side. We want to try to get even coverage all the way around. We're going to flip it over to the dry side and repeat the process. By doing this every once in a while, you are going to give yourself better clarity and better water repellency while going down the road without having to do any kind of extensive treatment to the glass. In future episodes on the channel, I will show you how to treat the glass. In the meantime, since I am getting ready for work and I don't have the product at hand, just going to go through and give a good cleaning, removing all of those schmutz. Now, the biggest thing is going to be making sure to get full coverage on the windshield. Now, I'm fortunate enough with the height that I am and the vehicle itself, I'm able to get overlapping coverage across the entirety of the windshield. Some of you may not be able to, and I get that, but just try your best. If not, worst case scenario, that's what car washes are for. All right. Once again, we're going to go ahead and drop down the wiper blades. Boom. And as you see there, we have ourselves a nice clean windshield, ready for great visibility going down the road. No kind of impedance while going down the road. No bug splatters. Just nice and clean. So we're going to go ahead and work on the interior air cabin filter. Now, all these are going to be different depending on manufacturer. So how I do this one, sorry if it's a little dark in here. Open up the glove box, see all the shit that I got in there. We're going to remove most of it just so we don't get inundated with stuff. Got to make sure to have your registration, all kinds of different paperwork, yada, yada, yada. Cables that go to stuff that you don't remember what you got them for. One thing I like to carry is a first aid kit. Always have a first aid kit of some sort, along with a Right in the Rain pad of paper. Those come in more handy than you think. So, by removing all the stuff out of here, what we're going to do is pull in on both sides of the drawer here. Pull in, pull down at the same time until you hear that click. And then it's going to just drop down. And in doing so, we get into where the in-cabin air filter is right there. So we have the glove box pulled down, and right in there, right above that white patch, That's where the in-cabin air filter is. Let's go ahead and get that removed. So we're going to go ahead and pull on one tab to the right. There is another tab on the left side. And with scraping up your fingers, it should be able to come out, partially come out. Now we have access to it, allegedly. Now, with filters, they do have a direction on them. Always try to put them in the direction of the air vent itself. That way you have better efficiency overall. This would be a great reminder that if this vehicle applies to you, to like the video, if there's anything that I'm doing wrong, guaranteed probably am, comment. See what I could have done to make life a little bit easier before getting myself into this particular predicament. There we go. God, this is a stupid dash design. All right. Now, with a very complex tool, we are going to remove this air filter. Come on. We're going to pull you out. Come on. Guaranteed I'm doing this wrong. But you know what? Show must go on. Let me go ahead and grab my mini pry bar. Now that we're back with a mini pry bar, because this thing wants to be a bigger pain in the ass than what it should be, I'm just going to go ahead and gently force this filter out. God damn. Why? Why, GM? And then taking a look at the filter, it is a wee bit on the dirty side. However, whenever I replaced it originally, it did have charcoal embedded into the filter medium itself. So, in reality, not too terrible, but not the best either. Now that we finally got the old filter out, came out way harder than I expected it to, we're going to go ahead and put in the new filter, making sure to have the airflow going in the correct direction. Right here. Airflow down, filter in, try not to crush it, and then pop everything back in like it was nothing. To get this bad boy up, we're just gonna pop up on it, and boom. Now we're all set to reload all the stuff back into there. Now, since this is absolutely optional, and whether or not you have it, it's up to you, but I do like to keep a secondary air filter going at all times in the vehicle. This is going to be a little bit more fine particulate that gets taken in. It's pretty easy. I've modified it just a tad to where it fits in the cup holder that I have. So rotate, pop out, pull the little tab, pull the fabric tab right there, and pull it out. And as you can see, this is just absolutely filthy. Now, this was replaced only about 2 months ago, and it really does a world of difference in here outside of the big in-cabin air filter. Now, these are the same filter. I got them in a 4-pack, and just to show the difference between the two, you can't argue with results. If it's one thing that you want to try to have when doing rideshare, it's a clean smelling vehicle. Yeah, no one wants to smell your perfume or your cologne of choice or body spray, whatever the hell it may be. It's gross. Just keep a clean car. One of the easiest ways of doing it is to have clean air in the vehicle. That one just slides right in like that, close the tab, and then reapply the cut bottom. Now, this is the Philips To Go series of air filters, and they also have a VOC filter. This one I try to replace maybe once a year at tops. Being that I do maintain the filters in here at all possible and quite regularly replace them, I only replace that every once in a while. And correction, Philips Go Pure. Now, it is not battery operated. Kind of wish it was, but no harm, no foul there. Just got to make sure to have it all plugged in. And we're all set for about another month with this filter. My God. Definitely worth the price to pay. If I remember correctly, the Philips Go Pure cup holder was about $120. For me, that's well worth the investment, purely based off of how much time I spend in the vehicle. Now that we got the in-cabin filter changed out, the wiper blades changed out, next thing that we're going to do is replace the engine air filter. Depending on who you talk to, engine air filters are either going to give you all the horsepower in the world, or they're just there to restrict your motor. What I typically do with all my new vehicles is I replace them with a K&N or some type of reusable filter. Reason being, filters get expensive. Last thing I want to do is drop $35 every time I do an oil change or every other time I do an oil change. I would much rather spend the money up front and save it in the long term rather than repetitively drop $35 every time. If I remember correctly, this one cost me about $55, so after 2 oil changes, it will have paid for itself. We're going to go ahead and pop the hood, find the hood latch, just right there, lift up to expose the engine bay. Now you're going to get a weird camera view because I'm doing all this one-handed, and hopefully I don't have anything fall on my head. Now, for those that may not be mechanically inclined, or this is your first time looking at an engine bay, this is the motor, air filter, and on the other side here is going to be the battery. Those are the big things that you have to worry about. Now, in order to remove this air cover, we're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver and remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. It slides up and then peels off. Let's go ahead and get that. Now that we're back with our tools, let's go ahead and get to screwing off all of these. If you wanted to use a drill to remove these, that's your prerogative. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. I choose to do it by hand so I don't strip out any threads. All right, we got 2 out of the 6, 3 out of the 6, 4 out of the 6, 5 out of the 6, and 6 out of the 6. Perfect. Place the screwdriver off to the side. Make a note of that whenever you go to place everything back together, and lift up, slide off. Now this is just going to rotate off to the side. Give it a quick bang to get all the loose crap off of it. And now you have the air filter itself. Now, contrary to popular belief, this one isn't too bad, but let me show you the difference between the old filter versus the new one that we're putting in. Part of the reason why I go with a filter that you can clean is 1, reusability, makes it a lot cheaper in the long haul, and 2, look at the surface area difference between this media versus this media. I'll get this out of the package. Now that we look at the side-by-side comparison, you can see so much more filter media for the air to pass by versus this guy right here. Now, whether or not that's going to help out with overall airflow, overall performance, better fuel economy, you're going to be the one to judge on that one. But this is why I go with a reusable one. More cost-effective in the long term and better performance. Now, when replacing the new filter, just go ahead and lift up on the air box. Normally, I'd go through and vacuum it out, but we're just going to toss it back in there. slide in the 2 tabs, and then make sure everything sits in there nice and even, and count off all the screws that you screw in. Now, not all of them are going to have retainments on them. Fortunately, this one has screws that retain into each other. If you want to do a crosshatch where you go from one side to the other, back and forth, you can do so. Not really necessary when it comes to air filters, but it does make sure that you have all things covered. All right, 2 more. Give it a good shake, and final screw in. Boom. Just like that, you replace the wiper blades, in-cabin air filter, auxiliary air purifier if you have it, and engine air filter in no time at all. With very basic tools, it should be very simple to do, very easy maintenance, and it also leads to a much happier vehicle over the long term. And with the prices of vehicles nowadays, last thing that you want to do is get yourself in a car note if you don't need to. One thing I forgot to add is with the replaceable filters, they do typically include a sticker saying that they are replaceable and not to throw them away. Best place to do that, right on top of the airbox. That way there is zero ifs, ands, or buts if you were to take this into a shop and have it replaced. Or if you bring it into the dealership for warranty work and they try to tell you, hey, you need a new air filter and upcharge you, it's as simple as saying, nah, I'm good. I have a replaceable air filter on there, or a reusable air filter. So, with a little bit of glass cleaner on a rag, there we go. There's your replaceable sticker. Wait for the surface to dry and place it on there. Nice and firm, nice and clean, even, no wrinkles, boom, boom, boom. And you don't get the 10 extra horsepower unless you include all the stickers. So let's go ahead and pop on the K&N sticker. A lot of times people will put this on their windows. I don't care enough to do that, especially being non-sponsored, and boom. Now that we're all set up with the stickers, letting future owners of the vehicle know that don't replace it, just clean it. We're going to shove all the old stuff back into the box of which it came from, and in the trash it goes. Remove all the stuff. No one wants to leave a thing of glass cleaner in here. And with that, you have your cleanable air filter stickers on there notifying don't discard. We're also going to check underneath the hood, make sure nothing's out of place. Check all our coolant levels, which we are good there. That's going to be the brake reservoir, battery. Check all the connections for any kind of corrosion. No kind of corrosion. That's going to be your positive terminal underneath there. That's good. That's your jump point and grounding lug right here. Right there. So in case you do need to get jumped off, that's where you would jump off the vehicle. Now, with that, that's going to be the first episode of Clocked Out. Let me know how I did in the comments below. We may have a social media page affiliated with this. If not, you can always follow us on the Intoxication Station channel. Link tree down below for that. And for those that stayed this long, thank you so much. Going to be a new venture for us, and hopefully on all the things that we're going to be doing to this, should be able to help you out in some way, shape, or fashion. I'm Raymond. Catch you on the next one. Now, one thing I did forget to add in when you go to replace your engine air filter is resetting the light. So how this would work, at least on my make and model of vehicle, don't laugh at the gas gauge, is you're going to go to vehicle and you're going to scroll down to what you're looking for. So you have oil remaining life, air filter live. You're going to click on that, hit reset. Are you sure you want to reset? And then, boom, you're back to 100%. Make sure to do this every time you clean your filter. That way your vehicle knows when you've done your part.